Alright, what's going on everyone? Today we're going to be upgrading another Foundation starter deck. Now, I'm doing this pretty early, so I don't know if these are eventually going to be under the starter deck tab. Currently, they're at the bottom of my decks, but we're talking about the Path of Power deck. We are going to clone it, and I'm going to be showing you how to upgrade this on a budget. 0 rares, we will not be spending rares or mythics. So what is this deck? It is a 4 power matters deck. So we have things like Nexian Horn Beetle. I guess I can do, what is it, Power 4? Let's just type Power 4. There we go. So we have, this gets bigger if we have a Power 4 greater creature. This gets counters. This gets pumped. And then we're playing, creatures that have 4 power, even if they're like 3 drops, right? 3 mana, 4 power. We have 3 mana can become a 4 power, 3 mana, 4 power. This can add counters to stuff to get them up to 4 power. 4 mana, 4 power. We care about 4 power. Now, we'll say that 4 power matters definitely is not a tier 1 deck. This is never going to be a top tier deck, but we could still get a lot of power out of this thing with 0 rares. So let's do that. First, I want to take out 1 mild-mannered librarian for 1 more Llanowar elf. So this is such a weird card. It's a 1 mana 1/1. We can pay 4 for it to give it 2+1/+1 counters, which it still doesn't even have 4 power. It goes up to 3. It goes up to a 3/3. So I just don't understand why this is in the deck at all. And something that's very accurate for this deck is it's clunky. We need big stuff, right? Lots of 3 drops, lots of 4 drops, because we need 4 power. It's hard to get 4 power on 2 mana creatures, right? So we want to ramp into like 3 and 4 drops pretty quickly, and we can do that with Llanowar elves. So let's just take one of these out, add a 4th one of these, because I don't know why this is in the deck at all. It's very strange. We'll be taking the other one out later for sure. But for now, I want to take out 1 Bushwhack for a Torch the Tower. So here's the thing. First off, we just added more ramp to the deck. So we don't need that, right? The 1 mana search for a land, we just added a Llanowar elf. This also doesn't ramp us. It gets us a land, but it doesn't ramp us. It gets it into hand. So it doesn't get our stuff out faster. And the fight spell is fine-ish. The problem I'm having with this deck is we're kind of janky, right? We're going to have a ramp, we're going to have 4 power matter stuff, payoffs, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I just find this fight spell to be inconsistent. I don't always have a creature. I just want removal that works. I'm going to be taking out this as well. I found this card to be very frustrating because I just don't always have a good creature for it, and I just want removal that just actually works. So I'm going to take out 1 Bushwhack, add the 1 Torch the Tower. The other Bushwhack I want to take out for Witchstalker Frenzy. So this is another removal spell. Once again, the ramp is nice, but we did add the Llanowar elf. So I just want reliable removal. And there's 1 creature that was the bane of my existence when I was brewing this deck, and that's Shieldred, because we basically have no way to answer this. 5 toughness, none of our removal hits it. The decks that play this, they're not good with this fight spell because we usually don't have creatures because they kill them all. So I just wanted a way to kill Shieldred, and Witchstalker Frenzy does it. It is 4 mana, it deals 5 damage to a creature, and it costs 1 less for each creature that attack this turn. So we can attack first, then go to blockers, and blow up Shieldred before she even blocks. It does make the deck, or the mana curve, look clunky. We're adding these frenzies, but we usually end up casting it for, something down here, right? And similarly, I just want removal that works. My God, I mean, this is very, very good sometimes. There's times when you get to kill something, make something bigger. The counter on Halana is insane, right? Because they put out counters based on their power. So if you load up counters on this thing, then it just adds more counters. It's really cool. The problem is the number of times I've drawn this with few creatures on board is, whew. So I just want more Witchstalker Frenzies because they work. I just want something better than Felling Blow. I want something that works consistently. In this worst case scenario, it's not bad. And best case scenario, it's 1 mana, blow up a big blocker, blow up a big creature, blow up Shieldred, right? Alright, so now that we have the clunky removal out, let's fix the creatures. There's there's a lot of bad creatures. Let's fix that. Let's start with this. This is our payoff for going big. 2 mana 2/2. If we have a creature with power 4 or greater, it becomes a 3/2 with menace, and that's it. It can only trigger once per turn. So at best, this is a 2 mana 3/2 with a menace. You know what? It's better. Just Nexian Horn Beetle. A 2 mana 2/2. If we have a creature with power 4 or greater, it gets a counter. going to do that every turn, so it's going to be a 3/3, then a 4/4, then a 5/5, then a 6/6. Just better than this. So we'll take out one of these, add one Nessian Horn Beetle. That just seems better. Next, I want to take out these Beastkin Rangers for Jolene. That is Jolene Plundering Pugilist. So this is a 3-mana 3/3 trample, which is nice. Whenever another creature enters, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So you could put 2 creatures in play, have it be like a 5/3. That's fine. This, on the other hand, 3 mana 4/2 with already 4 power. Whenever we attack with power 4 or greater creatures, we get a treasure token. So that's more ways to get up into 4 mana if we're struggling with that. But we can also sacrifice treasures to deal damage, which can be useful in the late game when we have mana dorks on the battlefield, right? And nothing to do with our mana. It also triggers the Horn Beetle the turn it comes into play, right? Like we play this turn 2, turn 3 we play this, go to combat, this gets a counter. Immediately goes to a 3/3. This can't trigger the Horn Beetle until turn 4. So, yeah, just a little bit better. Take 2 of these out. Add 2 of those in. Next, I want to take out a Courageous Goblin, the other one, for another Jolene. Now, we are taking out a 2-drop for a 3-drop, but we have lots of ways to ramp into 3 to 4 mana. We're trying to get to these, right? Ideally, we play an elf on turn 1, we play a 3-drop on turn 2, that'd be great. And we actually want to load up our deck with 4 drops, with 3 drops, with Llanowar Elves. So I think it's worth taking out a 2-drop for a 3rd Jolene. Next, Axguard Cavalry. It just isn't doing anything. What I want to add is some more expensive stuff. I know it seems awkward, but this Cavalry doesn't do anything. It's 2 mana 2/2, gives a creature haste, fine. It just doesn't trigger our stuff, right? We want 4 power or greater payoffs, which is what this is. 4 mana 4/4, reach, ward 2. At the beginning of our combat, other creatures we control with power 4 or greater gain trample and haste until end of turn. So this is going to give all of our big stuff haste anyway, where this can only give 1. Also gives trample to all of our big stuff, that's awesome. Also hard to target, has ward 2, has reach, pretty good, pretty solid. And I just like it better than this awkward 2-drop that doesn't really do much for our deck. Similarly, I want to take out these giants for 2 more Cactus Folk Sure Shots. So, do I want a 4 mana 4/3 with reach, or do I want a 4 mana 4/4 with reach, ward 2, and giving our stuff trample and haste, right? I mean, pretty obvious. This is just junk. It's pretty bad. We'll take 2 of these out. We'll add 2 of these in. It's just better. Next, a slight optimization, but I think it's worth taking out the Cinder Maul for Scytheclaw. So, I would say this is optional. The life gain, the preventing life gain, could be good against like the Bats deck, for example. So if you're having trouble with that type of deck, this is fine. But this, I like it a lot, especially at lower ranks, because people play into it a lot and take damage unnecessarily. 3 mana 4/3. If the opponent casts a spell on your turn, it deals 4 damage to them. That makes it harder to play counter spells. It makes it harder to play instant speed removal. It punishes control decks, basically. Because if they play on your turn, they take damage, which is pretty nice. So I think it's worth taking out 2 of these for 2 of the Scytheclaws. And the same, we'll just keep this over here. The same with this Eager Truffle Snout thing. 3 mana 4/2 trample versus a 4/3. No trample, technically, but it can get trample from this, for example. And when it deals combat damage, you make a food. I mean, that's nice, but a 4/2 a trample is just, it dies a lot. It's going to die. You might get a food out of it, maybe 2, but not a lot. This, on the other hand, it's a bit more sturdy in combat, and punishing control decks for playing on your turn just feels pretty good. I like taking out 2 of these, going up to 4 of the Raptors. And finally, I would like to take this last card out for another clunky card. We are increasing the mana curve quite a bit, but I want to add another one of these. There's 1 in the deck already, so we're going to go to 2. It's a 1 mana 1/1. Again, goes to a 3/3. Does draw, I guess, but this also draws 3 mana. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. That's awesome. Creatures you control have trample, so all of our stuff is always going to have trample. That's pretty good. And every time a power 4 or greater creature enters, we draw. It's just more card draw. I like having those. Our curve looks clunky. It's not as bad as it looks, again, because this is usually being cast down here somewhere. But we are very heavily reliant on playing these ramp creatures early and getting into this stuff as soon as possible. That's like the whole idea of the deck, is get to those 3 and 4 drops quick and beat down with them. Also debated taking out Buckle Up for a 3rd ruby. We're so heavily focused on getting the big stuff quick that this feels like win more. It's really good. I've won a few games with this, just doubling the power of like this, going to 8 or something, right? But, you know, more ramp wouldn't be bad. So I debated it a lot, going down Buckle Up, go to 3 rubies. I think that's probably worth it, but we'll consider that an unofficial recommendation, if you will. Okay, so rares. First off, I want to talk about free rares. In the starter decks, in food time, where is that? Or snack time, that's what it's called. You have Bristlebud Farmer. 4 mana, 5/5, enters, makes 2 food. When it attacks, you can sacrifice 1 to mill 3 and get a permanent from among them back to your hand. Very good Stompy creature, probably better than basically any of the 4 drops we have. In the Dino Might deck, we have Trumpeting Carnosaur, 6 mana, 7/6, trample. When it enters, we discover 5, and we can pay 3 for it to deal 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. You could replace one of the burn spells with this if you wanted to. You could also probably play Hulking Raptor in your deck, a 4 mana 5/3 that adds 2 mana every turn. Is still probably better than most of the 4 drops in your deck right now. In the Desert Oasis deck, we have Colossal Rattleworm, which is here. It's a 4 mana 6/5. It does have flash if you control a desert. You don't need to have a desert for this to be good. It's still a 4 mana 6/5 trampler, which is pretty aggressive, especially if you ramp into it a turn early. Other rares worth talking about. Spinner of Souls is one of the better ones. 3 mana 4/3, it's already in the deck. Whenever another creature dies, we reveal cards off the top of our library until we reveal a creature card, and we put that into our hand. It is almost certainly better than Garruk's Uprising. Both of these are just card advantage, but this is card advantage, and also it's a 3 mana 4 power creature, which we want to ramp into with Llanowar Elves. So any of these you have, I think Garruk's Uprising can go right into those. There's also Scrap Shooter, which is a 3 mana 4/4 reach. When it enters, you can give your opponent a draw to destroy an artifact or an enchantment. So this is like a removal spell. That's also a 3 mana 4/4. Probably better than Jolene and either of these 3 drops. Jolene, Scytheclaw Raptor can go, like I have 1 right now, right? So I could, if I was building this deck, I would take out a Raptor for one of these probably. And if my opponent has an important artifact or enchantment, I can let them draw a new card and kill that very important artifact or enchantment they might have. Scavenging Ooze could also probably go in the deck. It's a 2 mana 2/2, but it can get counters. So it's something that we can play early, but it can have 4 power. And I would say this is also probably better than the 3 drops. I'd rather have Scavenging Ooze over the Raptor, probably the Sure Shots as well, just because it's so much more efficient. There's also Outcast Trailblazer, which is here. So this is a 3 mana 4/2. When it enters, you get to add a mana of any color, and then whenever another creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, you draw. Once again, this is better than Garruk's Uprising, right? We have a 3 mana 4/2 that's going to draw whenever we play something with power 4 or greater, or we have a 3 mana enchantment that's going to draw when we play something with power 4 or greater. And note that you can plot this, so you can, on turn 2 or 3, if you have a turn 2 if you have a Llanowar Elves, you can plot this, and then you can play it and a 4 power creature. It's a bit better. I suppose it's worth mentioning, no one plays this card. I feel like more people, I want to build a deck around this because I never see it being played. It's a 4 mana 8/4. When it becomes blocked, you untap all your creatures and you get another combat phase, and you can force it to be blocked, and no one plays this. But like a turn 3 8/4 seems good, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem good? I don't know. It's probably better than, like, I don't know. Again, Sure Shot. Probably better than Sure Shot. An 8/4 or a 4/4. Guess we're losing the trample, but I don't know. No one plays that, man. I feel like that's wrong. And I suppose Goat is a little bit win more, but it is a 12/12 trampler. It has its cost reduced by the total power of creatures you control. So that's fun, but dangerous, because sometimes it's just uncastable, but worth mentioning. Anyway, there is Lots of room for improvement, of course, if you're adding rares. Spinner of Souls is probably my favorite rare for this deck personally. Every time I draw this, I feel pretty good about it, especially if it gets me a card or two. But yeah, that's our upgrade. It's not a tier 1 strategy, but it's definitely better than when we started, because, you know, we took out, what was this guy? Because we're not playing this anymore. That alone makes it better, I think. So, yeah, anyway, that's it, guys. Hope that's useful. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.